Welcome back, my friends. This is the second part of our apple butter canning. So if you saw the first one, this is the ending to it. The apple butter has been cooking about 10 hours and we are ready to get it immersion blended and to get it jarred up. I'm going to use these little half-pint jars. I'm not really sure how many jars it's going to make. I didn't use as big of a recipe that I normally use, so we'll have to kind of wait and see. But let me show you what it looks like. So inside, it is this golden gloppy goop of mush. You can see that it's really kind of liquidy. It smells so good, my friends. It is straight up like an apple cider cinnamon smell. You can see how easily these are very, very soft and breaking apart, and that's exactly what we're wanting. So everything is super done. So I am just going to simply grab that immersion blender. We're going to give it a quick blend and get it into the jars. One of the things I've used or learned when using the immersion blender, especially when things are hot, is always kind of keep it at a little bit of an angle so it doesn't all, if you go like this, it's going to splatter straight up at you. Always keep it a little bit of an angle. I'm going to start this one off nice and low. Okay. Not going to take much to blend it up. They're already really super soft. So I'm going to just kind of smush it up, get it blended to the texture that I think that my family will like, and that'll be good enough. And as you can see, it blends really quickly. I'm not too worried about putting any lemon juice or anything like that in this. Apples in and of themselves are pretty high acidity. The only time I really worry is if I might be using some type of an apple that is a little bit lower, or if I'm usually doing an apple pie, I'll usually throw some in there. Not only does it brighten up the apple pie filling, but I tend to like it that way. I have also made this where I put caramel in it before, so it's like a caramel, or a salted caramel apple. But today, this particular one is just going to be apple butter. Let me show you what the apple butter is going to look like. So you can kind of see it's a very thick, hasn't even started to thicken up yet. But you can kind of see how thick the consistency already is. And then as it sits and spreads and cools, it'll become much more thick. It'll be totally spreadable on anything. And this smells so good. So I'm really, really excited to have this on the shelf. This is something that we definitely could make more often, or I can make more of during the season, since it's just with apples. So we'll get these canned up. And we're going to do the same thing with this that we did with the other, which is that we do have to debubble it. And we want to watch the head space so that we put it into the water bath canner, that we don't have any siphoning that happens out. So I need to look at this one and make sure that I'm following along those guidelines for the head space. These jars are really small, so they are only going to need to process in the water bath canner for about 10 minutes because they're so small. So they're not going to need much processing time at all. Grab a little hand thing. Scrape every last little drop of this one down to get into that last little canning. I'm going to do a little bit of shuffling. It's kind of the problem when you're really short. I think we got it all. All right. Yep. Just enough. Scrape down this. So remember we talked about the headspace. You don't want it to be too little or too much. And I think we got just enough. 5. So let me grab a clean rag. And clean off the tops of these with our vinegar. Make sure that each one of these nice and clean. Okay. All right. Some wide mouth lids. These ones came with the jars. They are by Knorr. Just a minute, Curtis. If I do find any more really great sales for apples, I'll probably grab some apples and make a little bit more of the apple butter, because it is such a great sale and it is so easy to make. Pouring out a bunch of the water. I had left way too much in there. All right, so our jars here, we're just gonna go ahead and get putting into our water bath can right over here. It is ready. We'll add a little bit more water in just a second. Get just a smidge more water into there. These jars are small, so they're only going to have to go for about 10 minutes-ish at a rolling boil. And that is right at about an inch over. So we're going to let these heat up. And once they're at a rolling boil, we'll let them process for 10 minutes and they will be good to go. And I will post that up and you guys can see that in a little bit.